We're talking to a good friend of the Fightlete Report here as we welcome head coach of Chicago fight team, Roberto Ramirez, to the Fightlete Report.
How's it going, guys? Thanks for having me. Hey, Sean, how are you? Hi to everybody out there, and pleasure being on the show.
Definitely. And I want to get to what we'd like to talk about, of course. Belal Muhammad trains at Chicago fight team, has for many years, and along with the man who coached him from the beginning, Lewis Taylor, along with you.
Lewis Taylor. Yes.
We have James Dunn coming off a big first round finish. I wrote an article about the cage aggression. If you guys checked it out, and he defeated Luis Rivera Santiago, first round knockout. So that's a big win for him, coming back in the win column. And then also heavyweight veteran Lorenzo Hood. We'll talk about him as well.
And big news coming from him really soon.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Also, my guy Gabriel, he's gonna fight for a 205-pound title May 8th coming up for HR MMA. So that's in Kentucky. Nice. So that's another one of my guys that's gonna bring board and hopefully start stacking wins and get him on a nice little run.
I know Gabriel has been looking unstoppable. I know he had some, a rough start to his pro career, but recently he's been looking really good, and his last victory was a knockout.
Yeah, definitely. And that's he just came on with us, for his last fight. He's been with us a little bit, not a year yet, but like I said, he started with us last year. He reached out to me and said, we knew some mutual people that, some of my guys fought when he was an amateur in the same shows and stuff like that. And I always followed him when he was fighting locally, and I always wondered what happened to him in his pro career. He said he started off slow, but now we're trying to get him back on the winning column and get a good streak going with him. So
nice. And when did you pick him up? Like after which fight was it?
I think his last fight was, I think it might have been HFC. He had a fight in HFC that he fought in last year. He reached out to me and we talked and we got him on the team and stuff like that. We got him a fight in cage aggression in November of last year.
Okay.
And he did very well. He fought a really, really tough guy that was LFA veteran. He got in there and did the work and he got the knockout. And then after that, unfortunately, nobody wanted to fight him.
Right.
Nobody wants to. It's kind of hard because of his record. They're saying, okay, they look at the record and say, well, okay, we'll take the guy. And then when they see his fight, the way he wins, they're like, well, maybe that's not the guy we want to fight right now.
Right.
So he's kind of in the catch-22, but we got him in a good place right now, and hopefully big things, better for Gabriel Mota.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't let it go to decision at least for 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, no, all his wins are pretty nasty. So then we're going to keep that streak going.
Yeah, that's amazing. Talk about, you're obviously developing him for this fight coming. I mean, this is a big title shot for him. I don't think he's competed for a title before. So how do you feel you're going to prepare him? Is it going to be like a 5-round fight, I assume?
Yeah, it's a 5-round fight. It's at 205. Eventually, Gabe's going to be fighting at 185, but we took this fight at 205, to keep him busy. He's preparing 100%. Everybody knows Gabe about his knockout power, but he's a great wrestler. People don't realize that he was a wrestler first.
Yes.
And then he, developed his boxing and striking skills. And here at CFT, a really good blend of training partners that push him, in the other aspects of MMA, like his jiu-jitsu, his grappling, and it's just transitions from striking to grappling. And he's come along really well, and he's like part of the family now, and it's going to be a good future with him here with us at CFT with Gabe.
Awesome. Yeah, we're looking forward to that fight, and I'll try to get him on the show as well. Talk about Belal Muhammad, one of your star guys in UFC. He's really doing so well, so for him to just keep going level by level. Unfortunately, the Leon Edwards situation, the fight, they had an unfortunate situation. Did you feel like without that stoppage, you feel like Belal would have pulled out the win?
You know what? It's a tough fight. Obviously, people are going about what happened in the first round. They say, he lost the first round. You got to understand, it's a 5-round fight. Belal, he likes to get in there, mix it up a little bit, and start working the plan and stuff like that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that done because of the so-called inadvertent eye poke. I don't know how it's inadvertent when you do it twice in one round. It's not inadvertent, but I think he would have did very well. I think he would have won the fight, whether in the 3rd or 4th round. I think that's where we were going to really pick up the pace, but he didn't get a chance to show it. Belal's been with us since his amateur career. You mentioned Lewis Taylor. Lou, that's the main guy. Lou is the head coach of Belal Muhammad. When sometimes I can't go to the fights, but Lou's always there representing Chicago fight team, as well as Belal Muhammad. And you can't separate those two guys because they have such a good click and they have such a good rapport where just giving looks and certain things, they know what they're doing as opposed to yelling out instructions and stuff like that. Belal's got a chance. He's gone to Rufus Sport. He trains with Coach Mike Valle now too, with my other fight, Horacio, to get a good blend of different stuff to do. And I think he's at a good place right now. And tough fight coming up now against Damian Maia in June. So we're looking forward to that. He's here now working on that. So let's get that fight going,
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, obviously the technical jiu-jitsu that Maia brings in every fight, very dangerous. Yeah.
Super jiu-jitsu guy, yeah.
I think it's going to be a good matchup too. I mean, obviously I know Belal was interested in getting that rematch of Edwards. Obviously Edwards wanted to move on and,
Yeah,
can't blame
yeah.
him. But
No, but like I said, it's just like man to man and fighter to fighter. You would think, okay, it didn't end up the way it should have been. Let's get it done. Let's see who the best man wins, type of thing. I think he took the easy way out, saying, "Well, I waited so long. I think what I did in the past, should really push me forward, not what happened in this fight." I was like, "Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me." But okay, whatever.
Well, I want to get your opinion then about Leon's next fight against Nate Diaz. How do you feel about that one?
Nate is Nate, right? Nate Diaz, he always brings the fight, okay? Honestly, me personally, him and his brother, I'm a big fan of their fight style and the way they fight and the way they always bring it and stuff like that. Leon is, but he poses a lot of problems to guys because he's a lefty, he's a long guy, he switches stances and stuff like that. His wrestling is getting better, okay? But I think if Nate takes him into deeper waters and stuff like that and tests his chin and his ground game, and not his wrestling game, but his ground game, I think that's going to be the tail sign of what's going to happen in that fight, so. And if Nate doesn't get cut open, that's the only bad thing with Nate. His face is so scarred up. If he gets cut open, they might stop it. I'll put my money on Nate Diaz.
Okay. Sounds good, man. Yeah, that's exciting. And how do you feel like Belal will get it done against Damian?
Against my super jiu-jitsu guy, you don't want to get anywhere near that type of game with him because, he's one of the best in the world. One of the best has ever done it. I've seen many of his fights live, and you don't realize that once he gets a hold of you, they call him a human backpack for a reason because you just can't get him off of you, and no matter what you do. And he is super strong. He doesn't look it, but, the people that I've talked to that gone with him, I have some mutual friends that train with his camp saying that he's so deceptively strong that he gets a hold of you, it's kind of hard, and his wrestling is really underrated. We're picking it up right now. Obviously stay out of his comfort zone and make him fight. Make him move and fight. Belal's got great boxing and movement and stuff like that. His wrestling's really good too. So let's make it a fight and not make it a jiu-jitsu match.
Definitely. I mean, that's pretty cool that you're fight. Belal's fighting Damian Maia. He fought in Chicago for UFC back like 2012, 2011. So I'm sure
exactly.
Belal, did he ever, seen him fight, in the octagon in that UFC event in Chicago?
Yeah, exactly. And now he's fighting. And now he's fighting against him. That's pretty cool, right?
Definitely. Yeah, that just came to mind. I did remember he did fight Weidman in the Chicago years ago. Talk about James Dunn. Big knockout victory over Luis Rivera Santiago. He told me personally that this is how it's going to happen. He also commended you, Roberto, and the rest of the Chicago fight team for helping him get ready for this fight, prepare for this one, before it happened. So talk about it. How much credit you like to give yourself for that one, but also how much credit goes to him.
You know what? And again, the credit always goes, to the fighter and the hard work and the team, preparation and stuff like that. When my fighters or my team wins, I consider that a win. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I always tell the guys who come in, if you put in the work, we win together, we lose together. But if you come in and you don't put in the work and you say, there's a lot of people that say, well, I want to join Chicago fight team or I want to train, but they don't want to train and they don't want to grind and stuff like that. So I tell them to their face, listen, I'm not going to take credit for your wins and I'm not going to take the blame for your losses if you don't put the time in the gym, right. If that makes sense, James put the time in the gym. He grinded it out. He had a great camp. He had some issues also in the past as far as, sticking with a camp or having a home team. It seems like, Chicago fight team, our doors are always open to guys that are going to be willing to put the extra effort in, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I look for. I'm an old school type of coach, my thing is you got to work. If you don't work, then, don't come in my gym, I'm saying? James did a very good job to talk about his fight. I don't consider him cocky. He's a very confident guy, you know what I'm saying? And he said, Coach, I'm going to knock this kid in the first round. Well, sometimes, you deviate from certain parts of the game plan and it just becomes like a war and a battle and stuff like that. And that's what happened in that fight. It became a battle. It's not how you started the fight. It's how he finished it. What really impressed me, you know what I'm saying? He took some shots. He took a really nasty elbow. I was talking to our coach, Malik Elliott, who was with us on the show, at the show. I was telling him, man, if this gets through the first round, they're going to stop the fight because that gash was just horrible. And then less than 30 seconds later, James steps over with that right hook and knocks him out cold. And I was just like, thank goodness for that. It really helped us out. But James is the type of guy that you would literally have to like drag him out of there, to finish him. So
for sure. And that would have been upsetting if they stopped it off
But the cut was at least 12, 14 stitches deep. You could see his skull. It was a great elbow, and it's just like,
oh wow.
If you would have heard like cage side the crap talking that was going back and forth between those two guys, it was like a street fight. It was crazy,
Right.
And James is at Chicago Fight Team. A lot of Spanish is spoken here in Chicago Fight Team because I have a lot of people from different, Latin American backgrounds or Mexico and stuff like that. And this kid was from Puerto Rico. So he started talking smack to James in Spanish, right? And James like just returned it right back to him in Spanish because of all the stuff that we do here. So it was such a great thing to hear, and he came out on top. So it was cool.
Definitely. Congratulations to James. And I mean, I actually thought when I saw that cut that he was an accidental cut prior to the fight. I had, just that's what I thought in my head. But then I was like, wow. So he was cut. That cut happened during the fight.
Yeah, and he didn't even flinch. He got cut and he flinched. As a matter of fact, he started wiping the blood and just looking and smiling at the guy. And it was just like James was ready for that fight. No matter what was going to happen, he was going to go out of there, with the victory.
I know. And then just seeing Luis Rivera, just how he tumbled forward. Oh my goodness.
The crazy thing, Sean, was he was so out of it at the end of the fight in the cage. James hugged him and said, "Hey man, good fight." He told James, he whispered, he goes, "What happened?" He says, "I caught you." And he kind of like shook it off. When he got to the back by the dressing room, they have a screen back there. He saw the replay and he was livid. He went crazy. He was just like, "I can't believe that happened. That shouldn't have happened." And he was throwing stuff and fighting everybody because, you see the knockout. He literally bent all the way backwards. And that's kind of like a pride thing, like saying you never want to be in that position. And this kid, young guy, whatever, he'll learn, he'll be back. But, when he saw it, like the replay and with his full senses again, he went crazy.
Definitely. And then of course, let's talk about Lorenzo Hood. So what can you diverge to us?
Yeah, man, Big Zo, Lorenzo, another guy. He's just been with us since the past not even 6 months, and he's got 2 fights with us. He reached out to me also and said, I remember him back because one of my fighters, Horacio Gutirrez, had a fight, made his pro debut at the UIC Pavilion, and Lorenzo had fought on there too. I think he had fought Curtis Blades on that card.
Okay.
And I remember because I know Curtis and I saw this big guy that he fought. Lorenzo, I guess he hurt himself in that fight and couldn't continue or whatever. About 5-6 months ago, Lorenzo reached out to me again. He said, "Hey coach, I'm getting back," because he got out of MMA for a little while. I think his last fight was supposed to be in Bellator, and then he hurt his knee. He couldn't fight. He took some time off, and then he went to do like kickboxing and bare knuckle, which he was very successful with that. And when he decided to get back into the MMA game, again, Gabe and James, he said he needed a team. He needed, somebody, a coach or a group of people that can focus on him and take care of him and get him to the next level. And he reached out to us and we welcomed him. And as soon as he got here, man, the guy works. If you don't work, you're not going to make it here. Sure. And he showed, and like I said, the 2 fights that we've been with him, the improvement of his MMA game was so like from here to here, it was great. Because he's always going to be a good striker. But the thing is, you have to just trying to take him down now or to see him get in on his takedowns or defenses and stuff like that and the improvement of his overall MMA game. The heavyweight division should be put on notice, man, because this guy, he brings it, and he's very charismatic physically and vocally, when he speaks. So it's going to be a good addition to the heavyweight division in the future.
Definitely. I remember seeing him all the way at the APFC event. And I thought back then, like maybe 4 or 5 years, we'd see him in UFC. He just seemed like he was driven to be there, and he had the look.
And I remember, I think he was, but like I said, he suffered a knee injury and he had to take some time off and stuff like that. And he kind of like had to really think about where his career was going to go. And I'm glad that I'm going to give a shout out to him and his coach, Paul Reinhardt, who stuck it with him and, been with him since the beginning of his career and stuff like that. And they kept grinding and they got to CFT and we just melded so well and we mixed so well that now, like I said, big news for him coming real soon.
Okay.
So
we look forward to that then. Obviously there's so many great events, I'd love to see everybody get a chance to compete for the Bellator and UFC. Even James Dunn, man, he would have a nice time if they could bring Bellator back to Chicago with a nice undercard, you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Also, many of your other fighters as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, I mentioned my other fighters. You mentioned James, Belal, Gabe, Lorenzo. One of my main fighters, Horacio the Punisher Gutierrez. He was supposed to be the Combate Americas 145-pound champ. Supposed to fight for that. COVID hit. It didn't happen. He's on a 4-fight, win streak and stuff like that. Right now, he's training his butt off, staying ready. And any short notice fight that comes up, we're ready to take it. So be ready to hear big things from him too. So
nice. And talking to him, how is it for Horacio? I know he was on the Ultimate Fighter, UFC, for a fighter that had those opportunities early on in their career, how do they feel about that, right now, and their desire to get back,
Oh, he's like super ready. You guys don't understand. He was so green when he was in the Ultimate Fight Show. He only had 3 total fights, and the people that he fought on the show were the best fighters in Latin America or best fighters in Mexico. They had like triple his amount of wins, or amount of fights with their wins, you know what I'm saying? So he was very green, and when he got to the UFC, it was a lot, it was a lot to ask for. It was really hard for him to match them up with anybody with his record, and it was an experience for us. But what he did was like, he went to the smaller shows and got on a good win streak. Now everybody's looking at him again, and I'm thinking he's got the best potential. And right now, if let's say the UFC gives us a call, a short notice fight, expect fireworks, because that's the way he does. He brings it, He's a very exciting fighter, also very intelligent fighter. So I'm looking for big things from Horacio Gutirrez. Him and Lewis were what put CFT on the map, and Belal. Those 3 guys are the ones that really pushed us over the top, stuff like that, and got us opportunities. I think in the future, you're going to hear more about Horacio the Punisher Gutirrez.
Definitely. I mean, you've got, the Contender Series, another season Ultimate Fighter, and then other promotions as well. So I'm
definitely.
sure.
And we're open to all of that. Like I said, it's just a matter of which one is going to suit us best and which one's the best for his career, as a, to launch him back or to get him back into the big show. So we'll be ready for soon announcements for him too. So.
Nice. And then, talk about, from your perspective, when you bring fighters in, what do you look for in a potential candidate to be part of Chicago fight team?
You have to have it in here. You have to be able to work. A lot of these guys, this is all they do. They come in here, they do the strength and conditioning, whether it's here or someplace else, and then they come and train at night or during the day. You have to show heart, and you have to show, the right attitude to train, because it's a really hard thing to do. It's a really hard thing to do, to be a pro MMA fighter or to try to be a pro MMA fighter. Everybody wants to do it, but it's not easy. If it was easy, everybody would be able to do it. Because it's hard, a lot of people don't do it. So if you've got the heart and you've got the dedication and determination to sacrifice a lot of time, these young guys don't understand that they'd rather be out with their friends and doing what they're going to do and try to train part-time. It's not going to work. You're not going to make it. The guys that make it are the guys that don't do any of that stuff and really stick and focus to what's at hand, which is training and living the life of a pro fighter, keeping your diet okay during off time and stuff like that, not getting too big and stuff like that, and staying out of trouble, and focusing on your career. So if you come in and you got to experience, whether it's in Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, that always helps. Sometimes, people that come in off the street don't have any of that, and learn from zero. They improve because they don't have any bad habits. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So we get to teach them, we get to mold them, but it's good to have that base, whether it's wrestling or kickboxing or jiu-jitsu, and then we'll add the other parts and stuff like that. So
any thoughts on women being
what?
Chicago fight team?
I had 2 girls. I had 2 girls that we were really trying to get, some fights in. One of them got married and the other one got pregnant, so it's just like, it's really hard to keep good girls. But I have one girl here, one of my fighters here, amateur fighter, Nicasio Sanchez, his girlfriend, Genesis Alva, right? Galva, she's really, really good, man. And I'm going to edge her a little bit, see if she wants to try to, throw her hat and maybe to get her in a Muay Thai smoker first, or something like that, to get her acclimated and stuff like that, because she's got the tools to do it, but we just got to see if it's the right time for her. So.
Oh yeah, I definitely understand. You don't want to, rush it too much. And then, talk about the upcoming boxing fight, Jake
Oh my
Paul
God.
and Ben Askren. I had to ask your opinion on that one.
And the thing is I was just talking to somebody about this. I go, do you understand? It's a circus. It is what it is. Okay. He's not a real boxer, right? Per se. Otherwise, he'd be fighting real boxers. He's calling out people, pro basketball players. He's calling out Ben Askren, who's a great combat athlete. Okay, here's the thing. To try to knock that dude out, he's taking some really hard shots from really hard people. Jake Paul's going to realize that this guy isn't going to go down that easy. Okay, not to mention, he's got hours and hours of ring or cage time and stuff like that, which counts for something. Okay. As far as his striking skills, well, it is what it is. He's not a striker, he's a wrestler. But I know people who've trained with him. I doubt if this guy knocks him out really early. I don't know, what type of training Askren has been doing. But if you want to impress me, Mr. Paul or whatever in boxing, challenge somebody that can actually strike. Challenge one of the Diaz brothers, challenge Jorge Masvidal, challenge, Anthony Pettis or something. Somebody that can strike. You could challenge, a wrestler. What I'm saying? Doesn't make any sense. So, but if I'm going to put money on it, like I said, I'll bet on Askren because he's an MMA guy and I'm an MMA guy. So.
Yeah, definitely. And I know Ben Askren has, done sparring rounds with Tyron Woodley. So maybe that.
But
something
right,
positive.
but it's again. He has the time in there, so you can't take that away. People don't realize that. Well, he was a wrestler, yeah, but he's been against high level guys that have been trying to knock his head off for years. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
This guy is going to do the same thing. I think he'll be able to weather that storm a little bit. Not to mention, he's got a good, the tie-ups and stuff like that, that's going to tire this guy out a little bit, I think. That's what I would do, is I would like clinch with him a lot, make this guy tired, and then let's see what he got,
Definitely. Have you ever thought about promoting your own MMA events?
Man, you know what? I've had thoughts about it. Sometimes I would think of maybe co-promoting or with somebody, a partner, something like that. But when I see the people that I know that do promote it, all that goes into it and all the stress and everything like that, I don't know if I'd be able to do it right now. But right now I'm focused on the gym. I'm also a 25-year veteran of the Cook County Sheriff's Department and stuff like that. So I have my regular job that I have to do, and then I come and do the gym. It would be really hard for me to even think about promoting it. I just opened the gym in Guadalajara, Mexico, Chicago Fight Team Guadalajara. So please, like us, look us up on social media. Getting a good group of Mexican-born fighters over there that are doing very well. Going to bring them over here to train, but also get their base in Latin America and get them going too. As far as promoting, probably not for a while. So
yeah, definitely. And then Usman and Masvidal, that's the next big one. How do you feel this one plays out?
Tough fight, but I got Masvidal. Why do I have Masvidal? People, I have some of my students saying, "Coach, you're crazy. Usman's gonna kill him." I said, listen, Masvidal took that fight, had to cut 25 pounds in a week or whatever, a couple of days to make that fight. And they said, well, he wasn't trained. Now he's prepared. He's training. Okay. The thing is, it's gonna be a different fight. Yeah. Usman is a way better wrestler. I like Masvidal. With a full camp, I'm going to take Masvidal because I think he's going to have enough time to train specifically just for Usman, and I'll put my money on Masvidal. You hear it, I call it here. I got Masvidal.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think we could do to stop these eye pokes and all these legal activities that are happening to stop the fight, that are really, we've seen it not just, Belal's fight, but other fights.
Yeah, a lot of fights.
You know
what? It's the way the glove is made because, and then you got to understand when you try to make distance, your fingers are going out, automatically and stuff like that. Back in the day, when I used to fight way back in the day, there was a group, Japanese group called Shuto, right? Mm-hmm. And Shuto in Japan, they had a really interesting glove. It came all the way over here and it covered like the fingers, and it was like a little bit different mold on the glove. So there was less eye pokes, you know what I'm saying? With the UFC gloves, your fingers are totally exposed, and stuff like that, totally out. It's going to happen unless they do something to change the design of the glove to cover the fingers. It's going to keep happening. So I think they just need to really sit down and talk to the fighters, get their opinion on it, because they're the ones that are in there and they're the ones that are throwing the strikes. Get somebody in there to redesign the glove just to protect the fighters, because you don't want to poke somebody's eye out, or you don't want to end the fight like Belal had his fight ended because somebody inadvertently poke their eye or whatever, so I would say it's got to be the glove design. It's just got to be changed up,
Yeah, I mean, seeing that they do have the new deal with Venom, and Venom does make, equipment, maybe they possibly work out.
Sit down. They got money. They got people. Sit down and brainstorm and change the molding of the glove, or get something where it doesn't affect because a lot of the people say, well, it's the grip, it's going to affect my grip or stuff like that. No, make sure you can get a good grip, but make sure you just keep the fingers covered so you can, won't poke people in the eye.
Yeah, it's just so disappointing to see these fights stopped over that. And I'm sure you feel that way as well.
Yeah.
And then, what's next for you? When will you be on the road, or when you will be cornering? Who's your next fighter that's fighting next?
Right now, we're like on pins and needles right now. There's waiting for some stuff to come up.
Okay.
But the most would be a 145-pound fighter named Max Perez. He's making his pro debut May 15th. Gabe Mota May 8th. He's gonna fight. So we have May 8th, May 15th. Then we have the amateurs fighting May 30th, and then June 5th for the amateur elite amateur fight league, and also fight card. We got some guys on the fight card fighting in Indiana. Belal the week after, June 15th. So we're pretty busy. We're gonna be pretty busy.
Okay, well, we're looking forward to having talk to you more about it, Roberto. Please, anytime, you're welcome back on the show. Thank you for your support, and we would love to stop by Chicago Fight Team to do some interviews.
Definitely.
Man.
We'd love to have you, have you come by, we got a new place, we moved from a different location. We got a 5,000 foot square space,
Nice.
Yeah, it's really nice. We're trying to get things up, and we'd love to have you guys. And thank you so much for the invite. And please look out for my fighters, in the future. And remember, Chicago Fight Team, we've been around when this all started, and we're still sticking around. So we're still here.
Definitely. And I'm glad that you guys can operate under these conditions, you know, with the COVID and everything, although it's challenging.
Lorenzo Hood is here. Just want to say hi. He's standing in.
What's up, bro?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thank you, brother.
Okay. So, but listen, again, anytime, you know, come by Chicago Fight Team. Thanks for having me on the show. And, you know, like I said, like us on Facebook and Instagram, Chicago Fight Team.
Definitely appreciate it, Roberto. And make sure to wish you best of luck. Talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Take care, brother. Bye-bye.
Yeah.